Hi everyone, welcome to my Shoreline studio. I'm Sybil Musjic. Behind the camera is Joshua Blog. Now, today we're going to do a stew. What I mean by that is we're going to do a little bit of everything. So I have in front of me some photos of Barrow's goldeneye. They're coming back. We're at the springtime and we're seeing them in creeks and little puddles. And they'll be on the lake if it ever gets thawed out. There's a little bit showing, but anyway, a little bit water showing. So this is, now the Barrow's goldeneye is very close to the common goldeneye, and they're called that because of the yellow eye that they have. And they have very distinctive markings sometimes, these white spots, and usually there's a bigger one on here, and sometimes there's a big white spot on the cheek, but there are variations. And this is another variation taken in Quesnel on one of the ponds. And see here you don't have as many of the markings, but you have this nice large white piece. And there's no cheek white on there, and it is a male. We're just dealing with males. The females in the bird world are a little nondescript, usually in the brownish range. So the idea is to have the image, and we're going to be using our foam, and it's called scratch foam. You can buy it at your local dollar stores or Michael's or wherever. It's just normal craft foam. It works really well. And this is sort of what we're trying for. So I already have this done because it's just tedious to watch me copy all that. From a previous episode, I think it was 53, we'll post it anyway, where we're working with the dividers. These are proportional dividers, and I put it at the 2 level, and I measured it from the little duck, like the size of the head, and I doubled it, and then it just becomes that size, you see. Now you still have to do a fair amount of drawing because you're not going to get every measurement. It would take too long. But it gives you the proportions, say the head to the size of the body and the depth of the body and so forth. Makes work, a lot easier. So I'm just going to work with my little stylus. This is an embossing stylus, and I have a couple of them. This has got the larger balls on it, on the ends. And we'll just reinforce a few of these. I've printed it off once already. And because we're putting type down here, these bottom lines are probably going to be sort of obscured anyway. The reflection, you'll see a little bit of the reflection, but not that much. But we need his pointed little head for sure. See? They have quite a pointed little head. And then on this one here, you see the reeds and reflection, which is kind of nice. And it goes with the theme of the gold that we're going to be using. So I'm just going to redraw a few things here. So then I'm just making sure I've depressed it enough. When you run paint over these, it might just sort of bounce back. Not like the Presto foam that we've been using in other videos. So in this case, reinforcing is a good idea. All right. So on to our stew here. Now we're going to do this first layer in white, And we're going to impress this like a stamp into it. So let's do that. I'm using my golden open acrylics. These are slow dry. And probably needs a little bit of golden open thinner on there. Don't want to put too much thinner because I want the white to be fairly outstanding. Outswimming maybe? Okay. I'll just rescue some of the stuff that's slopped over. So rolling out our white. Now the golden open acrylics are a little more slow drying, and we really need that this time because we're going to do painterly things as well as you know, impressing the plate on here. So basically we're using our foam as a stamp. So now what is that? I don't know, but it's got to go. That was probably an early fly making its mark. Okay, now the usual, we have to put some weight in it. So we have a nice impression. So now on to a little bit of painting. And we'll just keep a little bit of water handy. Now what we're going to do, we want to keep the white. We're going to be working on black paper today. So it's a little bit heavier duty than this one that I was doing. You can see the ends have curled up. It's hard to pull off the plate, so we're going to do this. This is, I think, pastel sheet or something like that. Anyway, it's heavier. It's closer to tag or cardstock, and it's good quality acid-free paper. So you should be able to mount it and frame it if necessary if you're doing professional artwork, which, if this turns out, I might be using it. I have a show coming up. So I'm part of a mini spring show in Spirit Square Studios. And I'm going to be showing a few pieces, not very many this time, but I still have to get some artwork ready. So what I'm doing here is we're just going to take the white off in the black areas, so sort of doing things negatively. So we're just wiping it away. And take a fair amount of care with this if you're doing it along with me. And I've added extra paint here on my little paint palette, because we're going to be painting the head that violet, which is typical of the Barrow's goldeneye. The Barrow's goldeneye is slightly, about half an inch bigger than the common goldeneye. So don't forget your shadow. And the shadow is more obscured. We're just going to take a little bit off here and there. There's some ripples going through. And we're going to just take the weight off the weed reflections and then put some color back in. Do it all at one level. When I first started, I did the white layer first and then repainted it at the second level, but I think we can do it all on one level here. And it's going to be quite dramatic. And, okay. I chose the Barrow's goldeneye just because of the drama. It's basically black and white with maybe a hint of color on the head. I mean, I could do maybe smaller ones, but just to, we won't take all the weight off, but just to get the feeling of water and run some lines across maybe. This is the nice painter. I had so much fun with this last night when I was trying it. Just totally lost track of time. I'm a night owl. Oh, well. Another late night. Oh. Okay, we don't want to lose its tail. Okay. And clean up the eye. And there's a little black spot on the end of his beak. They have sort of a little curved, do you know what that is, Josh? Little curved part on the beak. Okay, just make it painterly. Yes. Okay, now we add some color. So we're going to mix a violet. I just want it to be a little bit darker than this quinacridone magenta. That's what this is. This is ultramarine blue. And this is raw sienna. So that should be a good color for the head. Don't forget it's going to be on black papers, so, and don't lose that nice pointy shape. I'm always talking to myself when I'm doing artwork. Maybe a few touches on here, just to be painterly. A little bit of reflection. Okay, I think that's not too bad. Right, let's go to the weeds. And we're just gonna bang him in. I'm not using a terribly wide brush, could, but should always use the biggest brush you can handle. And, you know, hold your brush as You have more control if you're holding it at a longer, instead of, you know, down here like some people do, and their like eyes are 2 inches from the artwork, and it's so tight. You want to be loose and fresh and free. That's what painting is all about. It's not supposed to be, what do you call it, Josh? You know, when you're slavish over something. There's a bad word, we won't go into that. Yes. Fussy, fastidious, those kinds of words. Yes, we don't want fussy. Or precious, or any of those things. We want painterly. So, just a little bit. We're going to West Fraser Park today, and hoping to get some shots of the pond, which is where this was taken. So that was our inspiration. Okay, so the black will take care of the rest of it. Now we just need to let this dry. I've got my little blower. It's a good opportunity for what? An interlude. All right, we're going to blow this dry, and then we'll get right back to you. Okay, so we're sort of speeding things up a bit. I'm going to run the transfer, and it's the usual routine. I have my typography. We're going to use some of this raw sienna, maybe with a little bit of violet. Generally I use Amsterdam paints for this, and I'm going to put some gold in here, and I'm hoping that the typography will be gold to go with the goldeneye. It's all very logical, isn't it? Okay. So we'll make it look like a little bit of antique gold, and I will cover the, no, maybe I won't cover the whole plate, but just what we need. Because all we're doing is printing that lower portion. Okay, now we try and line up the tape if you can to keep it level, square. Now, typical transfer, you just let it sit for a couple of minutes. And I think we can see the type really well. And we can now let this wait, and we're going to release it just with some gel medium after we do that first part. Back to this one, and it should be dry. Yeah, we can print this on the black paper. I'm going to hedge my bets. We're going to use some super matte medium, but I'm also going to add some glazing liquid. Yep, that'll do. Okay, just running this over. Now all this does is it softens, rehydrates if you like, the base layer, but don't put on too much. If you have too much, you won't pick up the paint. It's just enough. Now this is an opportunity for you to go make dinner or come back or whatever, because now we do have to let it dry. If you're just working in your studio, go get a cup of coffee, because it's going to take at least a half an hour, if not longer, to get to the point where you can release it. If you have too much, you'll have a problem like I had. Where is that one that we messed up? Oh, here. Where it didn't release. So you can see the shine. It's kind of interesting, but obviously not what we're after. And this is the other paper too, wrinkled really badly, so interesting as an abstract, but that's about word. So we don't want that. And I'm going to put the elephant on there and any other weights that we can, and then we're just going to take a break and I'll be back. All right, we're back and we have waited for about 3 hours. So, and I took a quick peek and it looks like it's looking pretty good. Most things are coming up. We have a purple head. Okay. We'll probably have to use some Posca pen to just shore it up a little bit, because you can't really see the beak very well, but everything else is good. And then we're going to put the type on top of this bottom section, which we have done already. The type, I mean. Just switch plates here. Okay, so we have the type in gold. What I can do is, maybe I'll use the raw sienna. That should work. A little bit of medium in that. Some glazing medium. And that should pick it up, and then we don't have to wait. I think that will work. And if it doesn't, we do it again. But it'll probably have to be another episode. Whatever. Okay, let's do it here. So all we're doing is putting a release coat on the type. And we just need it where the type is, nowhere else. Just a light coat. And I'm going to take a lot of it off because we don't want to obscure the type. We have our little Barrow's goldeneye. And I think we'll just tape everything down. It looks like it's going to give us grief here. Okay, fingers crossed this is going to work. We like to live dangerously here, I think. I think that should do it. If we lose some of the type, I mean, it's going to be reasonably obscured anyway. The whole point was to have it golden letters. And I'm not sure you can read it. And I've already done one that works, so. All right, flip her all over. And because there is some medium in there, we might have to wait a little bit, but if we luck out. Nope, we're gonna have to wait. Okay, we'll do an interlude. Okay, the gold didn't really show up as well as I would have liked, so we're going to run it in black, just do a transfer in black. And because the gold is there already, then the type will just go over top, and that should show up, all things considered. Now, hopefully this will work, because I tried it, and it's warmer in here. And maybe the printer ink was still warm, all sorts of problems. Never had that happen before. Using my Amsterdam black, I didn't put too much paint on. It should work. Nope. I'm going to have to work at a cooler time for this. Anyway, we do have a piece that we have done, which worked perfectly, and that was last night. I was actually hoping to do it in the gold print on top of the black. That would have been so nice, but well, these things happen, you know. You have to go with what's happening, and you'll learn something as a result. So I'll try this again maybe later tonight when it's cooler, and we'll just see. There's bright sunlight shining into the studio. We've got our studio lights on. I think it's just too warm in here, so yeah, it must be about practically 30, eh? Okay, well, thanks so much for watching as usual, and another adventure under the belt. Please like and subscribe, and tell your friends about our channel. Oh, by the way, we're going big time. Shaw is going to be posting our videos in our region, the northern BC region. So that's quite exciting. So anyway, we'll see you on that one or here at Shoreline Studio. Take care, and bye for now.